convoy of enemy vehicles was moving.
In my brain, I stood up, and my brain went into overdrive, as if it was working at 200%. I would survive. I would survive 100%. I heard the fucker running and said, "Kill him, damn it." I flattened myself against the wall here. They're all exploding against the wall, and it did not roll to us. Because Sanya, he died, he crouched. And in the place where he crouched, he blocked the last hole through which anything could get to us.
There are about 50 corpses of the occupier lying near them, as well as 6 units of burnt enemy armored vehicles.
He literally blocked it with his own body. Grenade didn't reach us. Do you understand that? Fuck.
Bro. The story of an incredible feat. 8 soldiers of the Freedom National Guard Battalion fought for 67 days in encirclement to halt the Russian offensive on the city of Siversk. 67 continuous days in the dugout. In a small dugout. All supplies were delivered by drones, and they would only leave the dugout to repel another attack, another assault, another attack. Relentless shelling and unending struggle for survival. The entire battalion, which supports these 8 heroes with all their drones and all their fire means. Dozens of corpses of the Russian occupiers, burnt armor. One of the Ukrainian heroes died a hero's death. 7 soldiers broke through the encirclement. This is the story as told by the position commander. Lieutenant of the National Guard of Ukraine, Vladyslav Stotskyi, and the commander of the Freedom Battalion, Petro Kuzyk.
It turned out that these 2 positions transitioned into a special status. A series of events led to this. The orcs had intensified their offensive, broke through the defenses of our neighboring units, and, for various reasons, they were forced to withdraw. This required us to rebuild the defense system. Essentially, an additional perimeter was added, identical to the one we had been defending, had to be secured. I made the decision to initially leave these 2 positions in the gray zone, but later they turned out to be surrounded. But it was my decision, and I communicated it to the fighters. The soldiers, including the officer in charge of the position, understood the significance of their mission. We explained the operational principles to them and why this task was crucial. They realized that they were covering a good part of the unit. And in fact, without these positions, a high-quality maneuver would not have been possible. Without these positions, it was really unfeasible to hold or break this active phase of the offensive.
How old are you?
I am 25 years old.
It's not a frequent occurrence when an officer, senior lieutenant, is on the front line with infantry alone. Have you ever seen anyone like that?
Honestly, I've never seen anything like it. I don't go around asking anyone or announcing, "Hello, I'm a senior lieutenant." It's only later, when we're having coffee, that they ask me when I started my service. And I asked them, "When did you start your service?" When I was mobilized. I came on my own. They asked me, "When did you begin?" And I explained that in 2019, I joined the 3047th Military Unit in Zhytomyr, signed a contract for service, then went back and forth, entered the academy, and completed my studies. Now I'm a senior lieutenant. They find out that I'm a senior lieutenant. Then they asked, "What's your rank?" I replied, "Senior lieutenant." And they asked, "Why are you in the trenches?" I responded, "Why not? Can an officer take part in combat operations?" That's what I trained for.
Wow. Look, you're a senior lieutenant, deputy for personnel.
No, I'm a platoon commander.
But you were already a deputy, weren't you? So this position does not require you to be on the front line at all.
No, it doesn't.
And yet, you chose your first combat position. A lower position. Is that correct? A lower position. So, Vladislav chose a lower position during the war than the one he was assigned to. Tell us. How did you manage to survive in such conditions?
It's not that there wasn't enough. They delivered the bare minimum we needed. When I arrived at the position, I set some rules. All right, guys, tea and coffee are canceled. Of course, a little bit here and there, but overall, it didn't matter much. I think they understood me later. Tea and coffee, canceled. Washing, also canceled. Brush your teeth. If there's enough water, only one person brushes. We pour just a bit into a cup, rinse the brush and clean. I led by example, and soon everyone was doing the same. They said that we needed to create at least some kind of stock. When you're thirsty, really thirsty, you can't just endure it. You smoke cigarettes there. It was full of smoke. No wind flew through. It's hell. Just an oven. A stinking oven. It stank of sweat. It stank of shit. It stank of piss. It felt like a luxury to drink water at least. We drank sparingly. Everyone drank half a sip. We cooked together. We ate together. What did we eat? At first, we steamed instant mashed potatoes. We boiled water and steamed the instant mashed potatoes. We had bread, canned food, sardines with the mashed potatoes. We had stew. We opened a can of stew. The fat was drained from the stew. In order to add water, in order to use less water, we heated the stew. Fat rose to the top. We poured it into a pot. We added water, boiled it. This is how we steamed instant mashed potatoes. We ate that with stew. Tubes of peanut butter. It was so good. We ate it with bread. The first time we got those, my God, it was amazing. But towards the end, we started thinking, damn, let's order something. Anything else. Then they delivered us 2 packs of Vienna sausages, Bockwurst sausages. That was a real treat for us. Do you know how we opened package? We were like kids. We pulled out food and everyone would cheer. Oh, pull out a pack of cigarettes. Oh, a gas cylinder. Oh, a bottle of water. Oh, well, you know.
Was it your only shelter?
Yes, it was the only shelter, the only one. I'll explain it in military terms as it is, a hole, the entrance. These are my feet in the photo. I took this picture myself. Roma Rim was sitting on the right. He was smearing his feet with Timorov's paste. There was a sort of bench. You could sit, but you couldn't stand up. Same in the hole, you couldn't stand. At best, you could kneel. That's the maximum height. On the left, there were 2 small bunks where 2 people could lie down. One person would stay on duty, and one would rest on the right. I organized the service. All right, guys, let's do 3-hour shifts. I started with the 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. shift and also took the 12 a.m. to 3 a.m. shift. Each person took turns being on duty for 3 hours, sitting by the radio set. The other 2 went about their duties rest. Plus, we were also getting covered with soil a bit there. I told them, let's only do this at night. At night, when the bags with foodstuffs were dropped to us, we'd use them to collect and dispose of the excess soil so the hole wouldn't flood. I also warned them to be ready in case it rained. For anything else, like going to the toilet or answering the call of nature, went out further.
Could you get out?
No, never. During the day and night, we stayed completely covert. It was a camouflage position, no movement at all. At night, we went out to collect supplies. During the day, we left dugout to engage if there was an assault, some activity, or if we needed to engage a target. The position in front of us was called pickup. They stayed covert too. No movement, no shooting, in order not to decamouflage themselves. So, we left dugout and fired a bit from the GP or the Fort 600.
Tell me what would have happened. Explain the danger. Why did you have to hide like that?
The activity of the enemy's drones was no less, and sometimes even greater, than that of ours. Although I can't say that the Freedom Battalion wasn't well supplied. It is awesome. Their supplies are top-notch. But the Russian army already has everything and more. We were terrorized by the Mavic carousel. One Mavic would hover with an explosive payload, waiting for us to come out of the hole. It just hovered above us until the battery ran low. Then it would drop its explosive payload. At that moment, a second drone would already be flying in. Or if we came out, the first would drop its explosive payload, and the second would immediately replace it. We said, guys, we're sick and tired. Let's go out and shoot him down. So we went out with flashlights, waited and pinpointed where it was hovering. We said, create some movement. Shoot to draw its attention. And we're on the other side so that he'll pay attention till you fly to you. And we were waiting on the other side. He created the movement. Shot. Something was transmitted on the walkie-talkie. The soldier shot. We saw the drone descend, looking for a target. It descended so well, we shot it down. What do you think happened next? We thought, great, one less drone to worry about. Then hell began. FPVs and explosive payload came non-stop. Shooting down that drone made them go mad. They bombarded us relentlessly. No shelling, no mortars. Just FPVs, explosive payload drops, FPVs, arch diameter, 4 men, the same position. But it was adjacent. 2 were from the NGU, 2 were from the AFU, the 54th Brigade, K2 Battalion. Amazing guys, real respect to them. During the day, positions would shift regardless. There would always be some shelling or debris falling. At night, we had to restore everything to how it looked during the day, because they would scan for any changes in the morning. One night, they tore a chain link fence, the kind of fences that are stretched. The cook and, maybe you know, the historian from the 3rd Battalion went out to fix it. I stayed on the radio set while Joystick went to pick up some provisions on ATV. We had a delivery. He rode on a Joystick was a guy with brass balls. He was one-legged, by the way, but still stayed in the trench with us. While they fixed the net, I stayed on radio set, keeping everything under control. I heard them coming out. Literally 2 minutes later, I heard the drone buzzing. I thought, they should come in now. I heard the buzzing getting louder, then bam. I heard an explosion, and then screaming. I ran outside shouting, "What's going on?" The historian told me, "We're both wounded." One of the AFU guys, a cook, was lying down, so I dragged him over to me. I said, "Show me where you're hurt." He replied, "Everything hurts, everything hurts, everything hurts." I started examining him, an initial check, tactical medicine. First, I looked for massive bleeding. I asked, "Where is it? Where? Show me something." He took off his shirt, and I saw that he was missing skin there, just exposed ribs. I could literally see his lungs moving, see them breathing. "Okay, we need to apply a dressing on this," I said. "What about elsewhere? Any arteries hit, a broken leg maybe?" He said, "Check my leg." I looked at his leg and saw blood, but it wasn't gushing, just a steady flow. I applied a tourniquet and said, "All right, let's stop the bleeding with some hemostatic gauze and bandage it." I couldn't tamponade the chest wound, so I told him, "I'll just bandage it." I started bandaging him, then checked the other side, same damn thing. I used 2 bandages and 2 hemostatic dressings. I asked the historian, "What about you? You said you're wounded." He was an older guy, but he said, "Don't worry, Spark, I'm fine, lightly wounded." He sat down on the bed and waited, saying, "Help Artur." I went over to Artur and he said, "Check my head, it's hurting." He had shrapnel in his head. His leg was also pierced, damn it, his leg was pierced. I applied a bandage and turned back to the historian. The historian, as I saw, he was already weakening, and then I noticed his entire pant leg was soaked in blood. I said, "Mr. Historian, you're okay, but your leg is bleeding. Take off your pants and take a look." Took them off, and his leg was really badly punctured too. I said, "Let's apply tourniquet. Why are you just lying there not helping yourself?" I applied the tourniquet to him, and that was it, onto the evacuation. Then Joystick came in, and the guy was really one-legged. He took the 3 wounded on his ATV, came back, and we were left alone at the position. While he was gone, I stayed there alone on the radio set with an assault rifle on high alert. I thought, damn it, fuckers must have seen that they just injured 2 with a grenade. You just never know. So I sat there waiting for him. He came back, and I heard the drones again. They started terrorizing us. Woo! They dropped the first explosive payload at our entrance, hit the fence we had, tore right through it. Then came the second explosive payload, poof, but instead of an explosion, probably gas, chemical weapon, get the gas masks. I put on my gas mask, took a photo of myself, and sent it to my wife saying, "Nastia, I think they're poisoning us with chemicals."
Yes, a Soviet gas mask. When we were studying at the academy, we asked the colonel why we weren't allowed to wear beards. So, when there's a chemical hazard, you put on a gas mask, and with a beard, it won't seal properly. It'll seep through. I remembered that. So I pressed the mask down tightly on my face as fast as I could. I was sitting there thinking, it seems fine. It seems fine. And then they dropped this grenade. So I took a picture of it, an RGVO, just like this.
Was it one that didn't work? And you took a picture of it?
Yes, one didn't go off, but the other one did. And then I started having trouble breathing. Smoke was coming into the dugout. It was hard to breathe. I moved up as high as possible because the smoke was settling low. But it kept getting worse, burning, 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 really burning in my chest. I yelled, "Joystick, we have to get out of here." I was shouting through the gas mask. He replied, "Roger, let's move." I exhaled completely, started running out of the dugout, and there's arms room. We ran to the arms room, but it was full of smoke too. At that point, I couldn't. Maybe it was panic, maybe it was the gas. But I couldn't inhale, couldn't exhale, and I started to have a vomiting reflex. We hadn't eaten anything, just drank water, and I started vomiting water. As I threw up, I could finally take a breath. I'd vomit water, then exhale air. I have a picture of it, and I thought to myself, I'm going to die from this chemical weapon. We got reinforcements. One was Kenya from the National Guard,
and then Yura from the Armed Forces of Ukraine. He didn't have a call sign. So, at night, we were digging, recovering. There were night drones flying around, so we kept our movements minimal, just doing a bit of quiet digging with shovels, cleaning the trenches. It wasn't like we could lie down and sleep. Some were on guard duty, others were working. Others were on watch with the thermal imaging camera. Then, a seriously heavy infantry assault started in the morning. One group was moving across the field, another group along the Miami, and another group managed to outflank us, unnoticed by the drones. He said that fucks were already entering Troy. Fucks were already consolidated there. They entered, started digging, so we were ordered to fire them. Skirmishing began. We shot at them. They heard that we were starting to shoot. They started shooting at us. We could not identify the target, so there was no direct contact. We just fired at each other. Then I said to Komish, fuck, I will attack them with RPG. He said that here was a thermobaric round. I loaded it up, fuck. He said that I hit right in their bunker. There was bunker, round landed right near it. There was a powerful blow. He said, give me everything you have, rounds, give it to me. I relayed over walkie-talkie, guys were bringing it, and we're fighting, so I said, guys, bring everything you have except for the tandem charges, because these tandem charges are heavy. The guys brought over everything they could. And Komish, he's a short guy. We started loading the RPG. There's damaged sandbag. And you can balance on one foot on it to get close enough to do it, something I've never seen before. He hoisted the RPG onto his shoulder, dropped his rifle, and jumped on the bag with one foot, and he made shot while being at the highest point relative to the position. He made 4 shots. Every shot was perfect. I said, hey, Komish, you're a tool today. You're shooting single combat, and then a group of fucks entered. We got another call. Engage. You have in the trenches. They entered us from Troy, so we started firing them. Then I said, Komish, who's going in? So only we came. We did not involve the rest of the guys. They would rather stay on radio set, loading ammunition equipment. One was assigned to charged ammunition equipment. Another one we deployed on the observation post. I said, look, we're heading to the rear, keeping an eye on it to make sure that bastard doesn't attack us from behind. We went in, clearing the trenches. Look, there are 3 holes where they can sit. Al, if they have gone into the kitchen, there are 3 holes where they can really sit. Roger. Roger. So we went in, clearing the trenches. Tuk. You know, I felt like a stormtrooper. Tuk. Then he said, I'm out of ammo. So I pull him behind me and start providing cover fire. We worked so well together, I didn't think I could do that. Tuk. We got to the kitchen area, and I said, this is the last hole where he could be hiding. I said, let's throw grenades in there. He said, damn it, a gas cylinder. I said, who cares? And we tossed the grenades in. We threw the balloon. The fucker in short screamed there. I'm telling you this with a smile now, but then there was no smile at all. At 7.55, the assault started because I took a picture for a woman for good luck. End of the fighting was at 19:22. From 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., it was pure stress, non-stop shootouts. Honestly, it was hell. By nightfall, we'd been hammered by FPVs all day. The explosions were so close, I could see the blast waves, see the fire from the detonations.
How many FPVs hit your dugout in total? Can you even count them?
It's impossible to count.
Was it hundreds?
It was every 10 minutes, all day. Every 10 minutes.
Did they land directly on your dugout?
No, they flew straight into the hole, detonating inside. It all collapsed. Fuck. We had an exit there, which we blocked with sandbags to create a narrow passage and support the ceiling. There was a narrow passage, there was a turn, and there was a 34-meter passage to the turn. At first, they hit that 34-meter section, and then we had direct hits. I could see it. A direct flight, unable to turn. It was obvious the signal was lost. FPV detonated in the bags. Bags were scattering. Since we were pressed against the wall, dirt flew all over us. It's a bit painful. It really hits the ears hard, especially in the bunker. It puts a lot of pressure on them. I watched those explosions and told the guys, if they destroy this section, or if it gets a signal and makes the turn, it's going to fly straight under our feet. I said, guys, we need to get out of here now.
Here it's intact, but over there, damn, this is a total fuck. The next day, we loaded up RPGs and the AGS tripod. We left behind the Browning, our rifles, and, aside from grenades, we had no other weapons. I told the guys, let's head to the hole where I carried Komish. There's a dugout there. Our 2 NGU wounded soldiers used to serve there, but after the FPR hit them, we stopped posting anyone there. The dugout is partially collapsed, but we can sit it out there. 4 of us, 2 in one hole and 2 in the other. We're just going to sit there. We won't fire a shot, even if there would be an assault. If they would come, we won't expose ourselves in any way. We would wait for 24 hours, and in the morning we would come out. They said, Roger, Roger. We moved in, waited for 24 hours. The NGU drone dropped us some food, and we picked it up. Sanyal Hanesian and I stayed in one hole, while the other 2 old men were in a second dugout nearby, where the trench diverged. Here we are in one hole, and they are in the other dugout. It was the quietest 24 hours we'd experienced in a very long time. When the time came to leave, I contacted my command and asked, am I stay alone? Hey, do I go out with them? Bring them weapons? My command told me negative. I thought, okay, a negative. Was I going to Pincher? Because I was leading people there, that's where I had to go. They told me to stand by. I quickly came to a conclusion. Command likely wanted us to hold it because the AFU were handing it over to the NGU. While the others packed up, my brain went into overdrive. As if it was working at 200%, I told myself, I will survive. 100%. Now, what do I need to do? I needed energy. I went to blindage. I grabbed fully charged power banks, grenades, and as much ammunition as I could carry. I had my Kalashnikov, a Kalashnikov LMG, tripwires. Picked up the string to set the tripwires. I noticed there was a generator nearby, so I grabbed a bottle of gasoline, planning to use the generator to charge gear at night. There was an eco-flow there too. If bastards did not come in and take it, then in the morning I would go in twilight and take it myself. Everything was planned. I rationed my food to last several days, knowing more could be dropped later. I would drink water and then determine how much water I need, keeping watch at night and sleeping during the day. If fucker came through the trench, I'd set up 2 tripwires. I knew how to place them. If triggered, the explosion would wake me during the day, and I'd be... That's how I prepared myself for staying alive, alone.
Imagine, you were preparing for a defense stronghold alone.
Later, I wrote everything down and sent it to Star for Toma. I'm not sure if he passed it on to headquarters, but he replied, stand by. Then, a bit later, he messaged me, are you crazy? No, you shouldn't do that. That was it. He told me to withdraw to Pincher. His message came around 5 in the morning, long after the AFU soldiers had already left. I had spent the entire night digging out a defensive position for myself. I worked to create a small, secure hole where I could lie down and have cover. My goal was to avoid direct line-of-sight fire. If fucker entered the trench and opened fire, I needed a position with angles to hide behind, one where a bullet couldn't reach me. I kept expanding the space. By the time I was done, I must have hauled out at least 20 bags of soil.
Did you defend the position alone? Did you stay at the position all the time?
It was while the AFU were preparing to withdraw. It was the last night. I spent that final night focused on fortifying my position. I want to survive. In my head, it felt like a voice shouting at me. You will survive, 100%. You need to do this, that, and the other. On August 17th, I went to Pincher, took my raincoat, body armor, helmet on top, a backpack, maximum power banks in my backpack, took 2 bottles of water, power banks. I was told to leave the RP. It wasn't practical. If I needed to sprint the 300 meters to our lines, a stretch of gray zone between our position and Pincher was just a small distance, but no one has watched our soldiers in that area, and it's possible there are bastards there because there are destroyed positions. I was thinking, okay, I need my backpack back, plus food. I took as much as I could because they dropped it off that same night. I grabbed some water, took my phone, and told Toma, I'll take the internet equipment, the router, the antenna, and the cable. He said, Roger. I got to Pincher and thought, okay, 300 meters? I'm ready for this. I've been preparing for war. I run, I work out, to stay in shape, I think. What's 300 meters? I can handle that. So I started running. After 50 meters, though, I feel it. I can't keep running. Fine. I'll walk, but I can hear the drones buzzing everywhere. Chuck, chuck, chuck. I know the path to Pincher. I shout into the walkie-talkie. Pincher, Pincher. Santa Claus here.
because I'm carrying a bag full of supplies. I say, Santa Claus has arrived. And I go in and drop off the bag D. The first time, I was the one who guided people to pick up, from Adolf to Pincher. I told them, guys, remember the last time when I came and promised to bring you some snacks, maybe a Snickers or two? Well, here you go. I brought bags, a couple of Snickers bars to snack on, bottles of water, and that was it. They were so happy to see me. I greeted everyone, shook hands with all of them. We figured it out and set up the antenna. The antenna was disguised, a square one, connected with 2 single-core TV cables. These cables ran down and connected to a Wi-Fi router, the kind that uses SIM cards. A Vodafone SIM card was inserted. I disguised the antenna at night. It turned out to be a faggot lying near Pincher. So I propped a board against him to hold the antenna. I taped the antenna to the other end of the board, and it worked perfectly. It was well camouflaged since everything around was destroyed, and the setup blended in with the green t-shirt draped over it, making it nearly invisible. I said, take a picture with the drone and show me. You couldn't really make it out. I ran the wires, set up the internet, and told the guys, we'll use the internet only at night and keep it off during the day. At night, we could finally connect with our families. The guys had been without any contact with their loved ones for 50 days.
50 days.
Yes, 50 days. After that, I said, guys, let's set up some kind of communication. They called their relatives and everyone. When someone called, I called my parents, or someone called friends and comrades in arms. He talked, but everyone else could hear it. It turned out that everyone started talking, so I said, what do you have here, guys? I told them about the positions, what we were doing there.
By the positions and where you were defending and the one that came.
All of it.
The bodies of Russian assault troops that tried to capture the position were destroyed by soldiers in close combat. It was just incredible. Let's imagine this, 37 days, from July 10th to August 17th, of continuous shelling right at your hideout. You don't leave except during battles. During the battle, you don't move or do anything.
Yes, we go out at night.
At night you leave. All day you stay inside. And even without communication, as I understand, because you were out of touch. After 37 days, you move to another position and continue the mission. It's just incredible. And the infantry there, dear friends, is very important to realize at what cost, with what efforts, with what small number of fighters such important areas are held. Because behind this thin line of defense is the city of Siversk, and thanks to such extraordinary efforts, our soldiers are holding these positions and defending Siversk. Tell us, dear friend, please, how the fighting went on at Pincher's position.
What influenced me that I had worse conditions at Pincher? A smaller hole. We had a dugout there. Here, the dugout was collapsed. The hole was smaller. On the 2nd or 3rd day, they said that in front of the pickup there were 2 Russians. They said, Pincher, engage and kill them.
Well, the positions are very close.
From us to the pickup, about 200 meters. They were in front of us, and the fucker was right next to Pincher, and a little bit 200 meters away was the pickup. And then the ravines start, and to our right is a field, a 2-kilometer wide field, with no trees, nothing, just open land, and it's mined. I took the ford, just fired a shot, went inside. Toma told me, you kill one fucker. Well, anyway, it wasn't a problem. There were mostly just assaults like that. We went out, fired from GPs, attacked with FPV drones. That assault, or whatever it was, wasn't really an assault. It felt like nonsense. Sanya Komiak came out, and it turns out you can hear everything clearly from the hole when you're closest to the exit. He came out, and we used to go to the toilet there. He went out, did his business, and knelt down, because standing wasn't possible. You could only crouch there. He bent over. I was staying on the radio set, and I got distracted because I didn't hear the usual rattling of human waste in the bottle. He came back and said, guys, be quiet. I asked, Sanya, what's up? He said, I hear vehicles. I asked, where from? To the right. He said. I call out, Toma, we're hearing vehicles on the right. He responded, Roger, Roger, we see them. Looks like passengers heading your way on a motorcycle. Combat readiness. Roger, I replied. And then I started hearing the motorcycle myself. I could hear it passing by us, and then it stopped. Sanya said, it stalled, directly at your 6 o'clock position, right behind you. Step out and engage. So I grabbed my rifle and said, guys, who's coming with me? One of them replied, no one. I threw on my armor, grabbed my rifle, and stepped out. I turned around and identified him. I could see his helmet clearly through the bushes. Got a good view of his helmet. At first, I thought that switching the safety lock on my rifle down quickly would put it into burst mode, but it was single short fire. The selector was all the way down, extreme right and bottom, and I thought it was burst mode. So I pulled the trigger. Pop! A single shot, he screamed, and I realized I'm on single fire. No bursts, no time to switch now. I started firing. Pop, 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 pop. I knew I had 2 grenades on me, an M67 and an F1. I grabbed the M67 and threw it. Boom. Then I grabbed the F1. Bam. I came back and said, guys, I killed him. They replied, we know. Stars already told us over the walkie-talkie that you killed him. So we went to check him out. He had armor, a helmet, radio sets, phones, passports. Looks like he was carrying power banks, probably picking them up from a position. Maybe he got lost and ended up driving to the wrong spot. There's the bike. There's that fucker. I killed him. The second situation was like this. We heard movement behind us in the forest plantation. There's a... Here's such distance. Here's Pincher. And here's the forest plantation. Pickup is located here. And we go out straight to the rear with another landing coming from behind, heading to the Star. That's how we enter and exit. Why couldn't we get out? Because those bastards had moved in from outside, ran to the forest plantation to Star, and dug in there. Our soldiers were trying to withdraw. Our dismounted logistics were trying to retreat. Then a firefight broke out. We had KIAs and WAs. We tried to push them out, but they were entrenched in their dugouts. We captured some prisoners, and they told us there are people in every dugout here.
It's an important point. The men were holding their positions there. Let's explain why you stayed in those positions for so long without rotation. Why you remained there for so long, using drones, unable to move, hiding, and how the enemy became confused and entered your positions. Because in fact, these positions were surrounded, and the enemy was on 2 flanks. From what distance? Because the enemy surrounded you from 2 flanks. No one could enter.
Because the enemy surrounded you from 2 flanks. No one could enter.
The enemy was 300 meters away on both flanks, so they were confusing the positions because they were there next to each other.
Why can't we go to the right? Because there is a field on the right. They will see us, first of all, through the field. And secondly, it is mined. And it turns out that we can't go forward. Left Russians, right Russians, and to the right there are mines.
But, friends, it is very important, you know. Very often, when we are told to hold on, when an order is given, few people understand what is behind it. And here is an example when the 4th Rubizh Brigade of the National Guard, the Freedom Battalion, carried out this order for the longest possible time, when, in principle, it was no longer possible to fulfill this task if you look at the map. The enemy enveloped the position from both sides, 300 meters on one flank, 300 meters on the other, and kept it under fire, even with small arms. They were advancing closer, making it nearly impossible to bring anyone in or evacuate anyone out. So, in fact, it was an encirclement, and the soldiers, who understood the situation perfectly, followed the order and held their ground in the encirclement for such a long period of time.
Now we're reaching the turning point. We could hear the strikes on the forest plantations behind us. We clearly heard the hits. We heard outgoing and incoming rounds behind us. We understood that our forces were providing support in our rear, targeting the forest plantation. And once again, Sanya went out to the toilet, again with a bottle, and he heard chuck chuck. And again, I was on duty. He came back with such eyes. He said, "Guys, F# car ran by." He ran right past us. "We're watching from the hideout, you know, through this little window." I said, "Wait, how did he run past? Did you actually see him?" He said, "Yeah, he ran down the trench, towards the pickup." I relayed it over the walkie-talkie. Chuck, 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 chuck. They responded, "Roger, Roger, we'll keep an eye on him." I asked, "What was he wearing? Did you identify him? Armor, helmet? How was he dressed?" He said, "He wasn't wearing anything, just pants and a shirt." I said, "Fuck, let's go and kill him." I contacted Star guys, let's go and clear him out. They responded, "Negative, negative." I said, "All right, we'll sit tight, sit tight." We were quiet, but I am speaking loudly now, and we're all whispering so that he didn't hear us. I said, "Okay, guys, he's heading towards the pickup. He's sitting there. There were some intact fences there. Moreover, there were few hitouts. He could hold up in one of them." I suggested we listen for a bit. We sat there listening. I went there to the exit. I had the machine gun ready. I was in armor. As I sat there, I heard him cough. I said, "Guys, am I hearing things?" Relay that I hear him coughing. Let Star throw an explosive payload there. He would run out. We relayed it to Star. "Roger, Roger." We were watching. It was getting dark by then. We were watching with night drones. No heat signatures. We were hovering above you 24/7, but we couldn't see anything. I said, throw explosive payloads, listen to me. Negative, negative, they replied. I thought, I'm doing it. I grabbed a grenade and crawled out. One grenade over there, another one. Silence. I thought, maybe I killed him, or maybe I'm just hearing things. Auditory hallucinations. The next day, we went out. We were thirsty as hell, starving too. They brought 4 bottles of water for 4 guys. And when it's scorching like that, it's an oven in the hole. 4 bottles of water, just 1.5 liters each. He could carry up to 14 kilos. I was thinking 14 kilos of food, that's a lot. But no, it was just 4 bottles, 1.5 liters each. Every bottle weighed 1.5 kilograms. That's 6 kilos. Plus, they wrapped them up and threw them from above so they wouldn't break. The wrapping added another kilo, 7 kilos total. The second half of the delivery was food. Plus, we were requesting grenades for the automatic grenade launcher, Vladyslav rounds, because we were firing them. And they're heavy. They also sent us some claymores to set up mines. We set up those claymores. So basically, we were getting weapons and food. And it turned out that 4 bottles of water plus enough to steam that instant noodles for 4 guys isn't that much. So we had to ration. And we were so damn thirsty. It was scorching hot. I said, let's go look around. They had dropped some yellow bottles separately with the Mavic. Just some aid. I thought, maybe while there are no drones around, we can go and see if we can find some food. So we went out anyway. I filmed 2 videos. I said, this was me and Roma Rim going out. Here's Forest Plantation to pick up. Here's Wilby Forest Plantation to the... Here comes Adolf. Here I come out of the hole. Here's dead motorcyclist. We got into the hole. It's not like walking downstairs. You have to sit down and slide in. It's easy to get inside, but getting out is really uncomfortable. Getting out quickly and react is a problem. I got in, but I see that Roma isn't coming in. That's when instincts kick in. If a guy isn't getting in, even though he knows he should, something's wrong. I said, Roma, you good? He said, hand me the rifle. I give him the rifle. I ask, what's going on? He said, a fucker is standing there. I grabbed my rifle and crawled out after him. He's moving through the trench, and I was on top of the breastwork. We both spotted him at the same time and started firing at him. We killed him. We went back inside, and after that, it was quiet for 3 days, nothing but calm. Honestly, we were dying from boredom. No movement, no gunfire, nothing. Peace and quiet. Morning, the tank started firing. No more than 5 shots, firing toward the rear. Before this, the tank hadn't fired at all. I hadn't heard the tank. I had been on this position for 68 days, and I hadn't heard a single shot from a tank. I think, guys, is that a tank? Seems like it was. I was getting in touch on signal. I saw Boxer was active there. Boxer, is that the tank firing? He said, Roger, Roger. I think, damn all right, they've pulled back tank. The day goes by, it's the 14th. And I remember I hadn't slept well on the 13th or 14th. But on the 14th, I finally got some good sleep in the afternoon. Slept like a log. And I dreamt I was walking through the trench. It was night, and there was an assault. I was clearing the trenches, leading the assault. I woke up and said, guys, what a weird dream. I said, my grandma always said, let the night take the dream away. So I said it, let the night take the dream away. I thought, well, it's daytime now. The day went by, night fell, and I was still not sleepy by midnight. From 12 to 3, I was on duty, and then I got some rest. From 12 to 3, everything's fine, no activity at all. I texted Toma, what's the situation? He replied, all good, no signatures, everything's fine. Roger, Roger. The delivery's fine, everything's fine, everything's on time. Even the delivery was dropped in early, which was a miracle. Everything intact. Then at 3, Sanya Komiak relieved me. I laid down in my hole, the one on the right, the single sleeping area. I closed my eyes. Ooh, I could not sleep. You know that feeling? You're lying there, but you just can't fall asleep. I was lying there, lying. And then I heard over the walkie-talkie, pick up, pincher, combat readiness. Prepare the anti-tank weapon. Roger, Roger. Vehicle approaching. Roger. Roger. I checked the time. It's 6:10. We had 2 AT launchers and 1 RPG-18. I knew how to use the second AT launcher, but there's also a stronger 4th model. But the second one is against unarmored vehicles. It hits hard, but for a tank, the second one does not have enough cumulative power to penetrate the armor.
An RPG-18S2. You have 3 light grenade launchers which, in principle, can do little against a tank.
We have 4 shots per Ford and a lot of Vosges.
Well, this is all against infantry.
I say, Roger, we can already hear it rolling in, hear the sound of the tank approaching. Over the walkie-talkie, they say, Pincher, get ready. 9 o'clock position. That's where Alpha is. You've got a tank 10 meters out. I crawled out of the hideout. They handed me the AT launcher. I pulled the pin, aimed, and I saw the tank. Really, it's just 10 meters away. I could see the reactive armor, everything. On top of it, there's an anti-cumulative grid with chains hanging down to the ground to stop FPV drones from hitting it. I think, where do I hit it? I looked, the side won't work. I won't do any damage. I figured I would aim under the turret. I fired, and it went off, but flew right over it. I said, give me another AT. They handed me a second one. I thought, all right, I got it. I'll aim a bit lower this time. There's a bit of a mound, so I stood on my toes to see clearly. I fired, but it didn't go off. I say, guys, give me the RPG. There's a whole mess going on. They're trying to open the RPG, but it's fuck. There is need to set it up. They said, nobody knows how to use it. I shouted, just give me something, anything. They handed me the Ford, and I knew I had 4 rounds for it, one already loaded. I jumped out, fire, and it flew over the tank. I loaded another one, fire. The tank started moving, and it flew over again. I thought, am I a stupid person or what? I loaded all 4 rounds, and they all overshoot. I was thinking, am I an idiot? I can't even pull myself together. I said, give me the GP. They handed me the rifle GP, but the GP jammed. It won't fire. The tank rolled in, and I turned my head to the right and saw 2 more coming. I shouted, guys, the tanks are coming. 1 AT launcher didn't work. Strip me the RPG, I'll hit it with that. Someone said, I don't know how to strip it. I said, open YouTube and watch a tutorial. I said, guys, 2 tanks, get in touch with pickup. Is there any comms? But they've jammed the signal, no contact with Star through the signal or radio communication set. We're only hearing the pickup. I contacted on signal and gave information the tank that passed us. My AT launcher didn't work, and I missed the second one. He said, Roger, Roger. I said, guys, I didn't hit a single target with the Vosges. But if I had hit with Vosges, it would have turned the barrel and blown it up. Well, our shelter wasn't special. We had an earth embankment. If it had hit, they would have identified us. Those 2 behind us, they would have finished us off, for sure. I said, well, maybe that would have been fine too. I said, all right, now we have drones. I know how Freedom works. I said, guys, Freedom is going to tear them up with FPV drones. We just need to wait.
An enemy convoy was moving. Leading the column were 2 tanks, fully reinforced with what they call mangals, barbecue-style cages, and fitted with mine rollers, like those used for laying asphalt, designed to sweep minefields. Behind them followed 5 armored vehicles with infantry, ready to dismount. Their objective was clear: to clear a path all the way to our infantry positions, make a landing into our trenches. From what we've observed, and what we've seen from neighboring positions, their tactic is the same. They send their infantry into our trenches while we're occupied with trench warfare. Meanwhile, a second wave of infantry arrives on the cleared road. In essence, they're outnumbered. This tactic is old and predictable, and we've adapted our response. We began targeting the tanks. We managed to stop the first tank, mines, FPV, drones, and an anti-tank system all worked in combination. The crew had no chance. The second tank hit mines, and the crew bailed out and started retreating. It was obvious that the orcs had orders to keep advancing. As the armored vehicles began maneuvering around the disabled tanks and continued moving in our direction, and then they started destroying the armored vehicles, right in front of the position where the guys were firing. The infantry dismounted of the damaged armored vehicles, and they tried to drop explosive payload, tried to hit them right away. Accordingly, they scattered, and most of them ran towards our positions.
The tanks passed through, dismounted their infantry. They were turning back. They said, engage them. I said, we have nothing to hit them with. He said, Roger, just stand by. They'll pass by you. I relayed this to pickup. I texted on signal, relayed this to pickup over walkie-talkie. I said, guys, it's okay. The tanks will pass. Don't engage, just have your small arms ready. I contacted Toma. Where's the infantry? Did they dismount? Are they heading toward us? He replied, no, they're moving into the forest plantation to Star. I asked again, where's the infantry? Why did they pass us? I heard vehicles, wheeled vehicles. Are the tanks definitely past us? He confirmed, yes, MTLBs are heading your way. I replied, damn, we don't have anything to hit them with. He said, MTLBs are heading your way. I replied, damn, we don't have anything to hit them with. He said, they're not combat vehicles. I answered, I know, but they've got infantry inside. He said, hold on. Then I heard a distant explosion. We got one. I asked, what about the second one? No reply. Then over the walkie-talkie, prepare for contact. At that point, I was firing at the tank. I moved to the single firing position. Roma was up front, ready with his rifle. Behind him was Sanya Komiak. To my left was Puppet. I told Roma, go out and engage them. Throw grenades. If they're dismounting from the MTLB, they won't be quick. Toss grenades at the entrance. They'll get scattered. I handed him the grenades. He moved out. I could only see his legs from the bunker. I had my walkie-talkie, rifle, and phone all in one. I heard tat, 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 tat. He started firing. Then I heard chak, kak, and he shouted that his rifle had jammed. I handed him another one. I told Sanya, come out too. You cover one side, Roma will cover the other. We can't let them flank us. Start throwing grenades. I threw more grenades toward him, knowing he'd gone out without any. Keep tossing grenades. They'll panic when the explosions start. He replied, Roger, Roger.
I came out right away. It turned out that I was the very first near the entrance. I got out and saw the enemy coming from the left and right along the trench. I opened fire with my automatic rifle, left to right. Sasha was the second one out. Komiak Sanya. He gave me grenades. I started throwing grenades at them. The machine jammed. They gave me another one. I started firing. Then I asked Sanya Komak, Sanya, come out and help me. Sasha came out and we started to fight together. The two of us started throwing grenades, shooting and everything. I don't know how long the fight lasted, 5 minutes, I don't know.
I couldn't see, but I could hear. I only saw their legs. I heard one of the bastards yelling, you fucked me off already, followed by a submachine gun burst. Ta-ta-ta-ta-ta. I realized it wasn't our gunfire. It was directed at our guys. At that moment, I saw Roma trying to get into the dugout, but the entrance was too small. He couldn't fit in. I grabbed him by the legs and pulled him inside. As I was pulling him in, Sasha crouched down, completely blocking the entrance with his body. Roma said, Sanya is killed. I asked, are you injured? He replied, yes, I'm injured. I told him to come here. He moved into the blindage. I grabbed my rifle. I understood that I couldn't leave because I had no idea where the bastard was. I wouldn't have time to identify him. I thought I had to fight chaotically, shooting everywhere to make sure they could hear that I was firing. We had preloaded magazine cases. I took my rifle and started firing in all directions. I could hear one of them moving nearby, so I aimed toward that sound and kept firing nonstop. When my ammo ran out, I reloaded and continued. Ta-ta-ta-ta. The gun jammed. I kicked it with my foot and kept firing. It jammed again. I tossed the rifle to Puppet, shouting, clean it and reload the loading cases, or we are dead. Puppet relayed over the walkie-talkie with pickup, bandaging the wounded and reloading the loading cases while cleaning the rifle. Meanwhile, I was engaged in continuous fire. I thought to myself, I need to throw a grenade. I grabbed a grenade, threw it out of the dugout, and heard it explode. Then I shouted, guys, they're going to start tossing grenades at us soon because they can't get closer. I heard the distinct sound of a grenade. I can hear them clearly, the sound of grenades firing off. I flattened myself against the wall here. They're all exploding against the wall, and it did not roll to us, because Sanya, he died, he crouched, and in the place where he crouched, he blocked the last hole through which anything could get to us. A grenade landed at his feet.
exploded. I keep fighting. I heard another grenade went off. It landed at his feet, and he held it with his dead body. It exploded again, but I kept firing. That's how it was. Damn it, I don't even know for how long, damn it. I really don't know how long it lasted. I have no idea how long this lasted. It was total chaos. I can't even tell you how long we fought like that. I tried to reach out to Star, but no connection. Nothing. We're only in contact with pickup via signal. They already destroyed our antenna. No comms. I could hear them moving around, firing at us, but they couldn't get a direct line of fire into our dugout. I was doing everything I could to prevent them from getting a direct line of fire. They didn't hit us with RPGs or anything. I was holding this position, countering. I told the guys, if we go silent, we will be dead. We're reloading ammo, cleaning our AK rifles. I saw Roma applying on a tourniquet. I told Puppet, apply a dressing to his arm. I saw his arms not broken, but a bullet went through it, straight through, leaving it open on both sides. He took out a bandage. I said, no, not a bandage. I said, here, a hemostatic. Take the hemostatic, open it, patch up it tightly. It's a bandage, patch up it tightly. It's a bandage, patch up it tightly. And it will stop bleeding. I kept fighting. Then another grenade. Fuck it. And I don't know. They must have thrown at least 10 grenades at us. All of them landed near Sanya's feet. He literally blocked it with his own body. Fuck, grenade didn't reach us. Do you understand? Fuck.
Bro. Thank you, bro. Alexander Komiak covered the soldiers with his body. He covered them to the end. He took the fight.
The fight had already subsided. I checked the time. It was around 2 p.m. I could hear FPV drones targeting us. Our guns were probably firing back too. Artillery was firing, just hitting hard to kill those bastards. That three-group attack against us was over. Later, they started coming in groups of 5 or 3. They found wounded and shoot back. During this time, when the comms were disrupted, we had Spider antenna and another mounted separately. I turned it on, adjusted the signal, but it wouldn't catch anything from inside the trench. I had to stick my hand out of the trench to get a signal. The first time I reached out, I sent some information, but then a bastard fired a burst at me. I quickly pulled my hand back and didn't get hit. This happened a couple of times until, apparently, they killed him out. After that, I managed to communicate properly. That's how I was sending messages. Hand out of the trench. I relay a couple of words to the pickup. They'd relay it to Vietnam. Vietnam would pass it to Star. And then back to Vietnam. Vietnam to the pickup. And I'd wait for the response to come back to me. I sent the message. Relay to Star, we're withdrawing today. They responded. Roger, Roger today. They responded. Roger, Roger either today or tomorrow. Later, as it got darker and dusk settled in, we received confirmation that vehicles were coming to pick us up. I said, pass the information to Star, it'll understand. Hit the forest plantation at Star with all weapons. That's where the fuckers, they should just throw mines, explosive payloads, everything they've got. Kill them. We'll move through the woods at night. I would withdraw the soldiers. He said, Roger, Roger. Then pauses and said, no, Volodos, this plan is fuckingly risky. The vehicles won't tom for you. He added, we'll cover you. Here's how it goes. You have cloaks. There are 4 people in the pickup. 2 of them come to you and you meet them. One of yours gets on the pickup. I decided the first one to go would be the wounded. I said, the wounded is being moved to the center. First, Skiff goes, followed by Vilny, and I don't remember who else. They come out of the trench. The command is given to move, and we've got 3 drones hovering above us, plus 3 FPVs. There's an FPV on out. One of ours hovering and another on the forest plantation at Star. If there's any movement to drop, boom, it's all over.
They step out, move 3 or 4 meters, and I heard a burst of automatic fire. I thought of asking Star what happened, but then I stayed silent.
I figured it was an automatic burst. Either our guys fired or they were fired upon. Our guys were not shouting or retreating. I thought to myself, you could not kill 3 men in a row with a burst like that, especially with only 4 rounds of ammo. That means our guys are alive. It was probably our fire, maybe even a random shot. I decided not to ask so as not to interrupt Star, who's on a closed channel guiding them with a drone, telling them how to cross the field. They're moving out, it turned out. Bastards in front, behind, and to the sides. And we have to cross this field. About 20 minutes later, Star reports back. Vlados, Roger, the first group is Roger. I replied, understood. Then the second group arrived. 2 guys from the pickup came. I took one of them, and we headed out across the field. I asked, guys, when you were crossing, about 3-4 meters in, there was a shot.
What was that? Was it you? Skiff said. Yeah, that was us. I said. We were moving, saw wounded crawling, barely started to say something, and boom, he was done. We said, that's it. We withdrew, no issues.
Were there heavy losses for the enemy? How many did you see taken out there?
When I was withdrawing, I didn't count the bodies, but I stepped over 2 and saw a 3rd one crawling. And in the evening, the commander called and said that we had killed 50 people. Fuck, a lot of equipment.
Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable.
You don't have to go far afield, yeah.
Is that your gear, mate?
That's my gear.
Show us your gear.
These are the same pants and the exact same combat shirt I wore. I bought them because they've been passed through all these challenges, and they'll pass more.
You wore this through 2 months of non-stop fighting.
Yeah.
What will you do with it now?
I'm going to burn it to hell. There's no point keeping it. These are the worst memories. I wanted to burn it earlier, but I just threw it in a box. Now, when I get home, I'll cook something, light the fire in the pot we bought. First thing I'll do is burn these to hell. I don't need them. Just dirt, shit, blood, piss. Nothing valuable in them at all.
Tell us about how you were greeted. By your comrades, your brothers, your commanders.
They were shocked. We walk in, and everyone's hugging, kissing. I kissed company commander on the forehead. I said, Toma, man, I'm so happy to see you. He said, fuck Vlad, you guys are insane. I've never seen anything like this before. You're fucking special forces. After the whole battle was replayed, we started talking. Guys, do you realize that Sanya died in a way that he blocked the entrance with his body? Every grenade that exploded near us, he blocked with his own body. They landed at his feet and detonated. I said, guys, we just spoke with his mom yesterday. His birthday is on September 20th. That's in 5 days. Yesterday, when I spoke to her, she asked how I was doing. Let's take his body back. We still had a bag for a fallen comrade. I said, let's use the body bag, take Sanya, put him in. I'll grab gloves and pull him out carefully so we can pack him up. We still have an armored vehicle coming to pick us up. At that moment, we didn't know we'd have to leave on foot. We had been told earlier that armor was on its way. The guys agreed, yeah, let's do it. But then Oli came out and said, no, the armor's minus. I said, so we won't be able to take Sanya? He said, no, guys, we can't. So he stayed there.
What were you thinking about the most during those over 2 months of fighting in those positions?
Home. I called home. I texted my wife. She was constantly supporting me. Thank God for the signal. It's a good thing I took the internet devices away. It honestly saved us so many times. In those first moments when the radio communication set went silent, the signal was a lifesaver, even during the battle. Toma told me to contact through signal instead of the radio communication set. And for guys,
Signal means the signal app?
having internet was an absolute lifesaver for us. It also provided a huge moral boost for the guys. When I got to them and brought the internet, they'd been without it for a month. Suddenly, they had access, so they could call home, see their families, and even talk to them. They were amazed to see themselves with beards and hearing from home. They were happy call, talk, and were asked when they'd be rotated out. The answer was always the same, no rotation yet. But at least they could call home, stay in touch. I could call too. And it made everything much simpler.
Please tell us about the person who supported you every day, your wife. What is her name?
Anastasia, she's sitting in the car. She supported me every day. She's a one-of-a-kind wife. If I couldn't get through, she found the company commander's number, found the number of the brigade operations duty officer, and she was calling everyone. I was reached out on the radio set at position saying, get in touch because rumors are spreading. People are calling, saying you've been killed or we've been wiped out. There were a couple of days without any communication. She even got in touch with the company commander, but he wasn't responding. I only managed to text her early in the morning on the 15th after I hit the tank. I came back, wrote, we've got tanks approaching. It's a storm. Then I put my phone down. At night, at 2:30 or 3 a.m., I went to Star and texted her, I'm okay. Everything's fine. She's worried. When I got back, Toma, the company commander, hugged me, and the first thing he said was, call Nastia. He did not ask me how I am. He told me, call Nastia. So I called her, and she said, I'm getting on the first train. I asked, when's the first train? She replied, it leaves Kyiv station at 6 a.m. She had already asked one of her friends to help. Her friend's husband is also in the war. She said, no problem. If you need to leave at 4 a.m., we'll make it happen so you can catch the train. They got up, sorted everything out, and left in the early morning. By 6 a.m., she was on the train, heading here. Wow.
What are your parents' names?
Ірина Степанівна і Володимир Святославович.
Ірина Степанівна, Володимир Святославович.
This is really one of the most powerful stories I have ever heard or seen in the war or in life in general. Thank you for raising your son. He is a true Ukrainian hero and an example for everyone in his battalion. I am sure that such commanders and citizens should be the backbone of our defense forces. My friend, thank you very much for your feat.
The soldiers of this position, Roman Omelianenko, Oleksandr Komyak, and Vladyslav Stotskyi, all three of them are nominated by me for the award of the Hero of Ukraine. Oleksandr Komyak is a true Ukrainian warrior. A fighter who selflessly and professionally fought for Ukraine. And the positions they defended left 50 corpses of the occupier and 6 units of burned equipment. I am proud of my comrade in arms. We are proud to be in the same unit with him. Oleksandr Komyak is a true hero of Ukraine. The commander of the position, junior lieutenant with the call sign Fire, Vladyslav Stotskyi, I have nominated for the highest state award, Hero of Ukraine. I believe he deserves this title. He is already a hero of Ukraine.